Hey guys, Jim here. Wanted to share with you a fairly recent acquisition of mine. This is actually one that I've had for a little over a month now. I just haven't had time with all the guest blade stuff to finally get down to getting this done. But those of you that follow me on Instagram have had a chance to see this quite often. I carry this knife a lot. This is an Alan Elishewitz. You guys know I'm a fan of Alan's work. He does incredible stuff. This is my second Elishewitz. And this is the Omega M5. And it should be numbered right up there. Yep, number 1. It's actually a really interesting knife. This was a series of knives. He made a few of them in the 90s. And he decided recently to reproduce that popular knife. I don't know how many he made. He only made a handful of them, though. Very, 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 very few. And apparently this was number 1, the way that it's been engraved. When I saw the knife for sale, I had to jump on it. It's the kind of look that I really love. I love that matte, blasted titanium look with carbon fiber. It's a nice, clean look because I wanted another option for an EDC, something that will absolutely just be carried every day. Not particularly a showpiece, not particularly a fancy flipper, but something that I would carry every single day and use it. And being a fan of Alan's work, I just thought this was going to be the perfect fit, and it really is. This thing is incredible. You've got a 4-inch blade, nice size to it, and it's got a little bit of a recurve. Not a lot, but a little bit of recurve to it. It's one of his really clean compound grinds. I just love the grind on this. It looks fantastic. He did another outstanding job. His lines are clean. They always are. It's effectively sharp. It's not razor sharp, but again, this was not a direct from Alan purchase, so it may have come razor sharp from him. I'm unsure. But I did buy this from another collector. It has no signs of ever being carried or being used, so it looked like a brand new knife to me. I feel like I got a good price on it. I think it's worth more than what I paid, and that's that's always the goal. We always try to accomplish that in case when you get it, it's not your favorite knife and you end up flipping it for something else. You don't want to lose money. This thing is exceptional. The fit in the hand, it's a very straightforward combat style or tactical style knife. So it's very straightforward. There's no crazy ergonomics to it, but yet it fits in the hand very, very nicely. The action is very, very smooth. It'll flick open nice and fast. No complaints whatsoever. This, for me, was an ideal purchase. It's lightweight. Even though it's a big 4-inch knife, it's a good size knife. It's very easy to carry. Let's give you some size comparisons here to other knives that I use for the same purpose, for an everyday carry, to cut anything, to carry every single day, and not really have particularly as a showpiece. First one here up against the Chris Reeve Omnum. You see it is quite a bit larger. These are, I want to say 3.65-inch blades. So the difference is really made up in the blade length. My R.J. Martin Q36. And butt to butt on that. And we see they're almost identical there. We'll get the Omnum out. My Ramon Chavez Redención. Almost the same size. It's just a little tiny bit larger than the Redención. Still carry all the time and love my Will Moon Mark VI. One of the reasons being because it's so slender in both dimensions. This is going to be slimmer in its width, but it is a little bit taller in its height. And you see it is a little bit shorter than the Mark VI. And of course, my Bodega. The Bodega gets used a hell of a lot. That might be my most carried single knife, honestly. So a little bit longer, but more slender than the Bodega. So getting all of these out of the way, I can say that that knife very easily exceeded the expectations that I had. I absolutely love it. I pair this up often with my my Bonner Pocket Butcher. Actually, I carry my Bonner every single day, whether I'm carrying another knife or not. Regardless of the other knife, I'm always carrying my Bonner. This was a really great matchup to it. Now let's talk about the way this has been made. Now, for those that don't know, Alan does everything by hand. He doesn't send things out for a water jet or anything like that. So to see the matchup of all the components done so perfectly, you've got to realize how much work he's putting into each knife. One of the things I love about Alan is everything is truly custom. You look at his hardware, and everything's completely custom. I'm actually getting ready to put a lanyard on this one. I like this this style of knife with a lanyard. There is his custom thumb stud as well. I think it's the same thumb stud from my Gordian knot. This was an interesting little thing right here. What looked like detent balls that are set into the titanium bolsters. I thought that was a really cool, really interesting little addition. It doesn't really do anything, but it adds a little bit of something to it. I think it's kind of neat. And I love the pocket clip. Set up with standoffs. It's got a great amount of tension, not too strong. Comes up just enough to make entry into a jeans pocket nice and simple. And I love the fact that it's skeletonized. It's a custom titanium pocket clip. Just really nicely done. Nice carbon fiber, not the most amazing carbon fiber. There are voids in the carbon fiber, but I'm fine with that because again, this was not meant to be a show knife. This was meant to be carried and used. Love the pivot. Very slick pivot on this. Love the detail that he puts into every single one of his knives. It is a single-sided thumb stud. I would have loved to have had a double-sided because it is also notched out here so that you could actually open it with the left hand, but there is no thumb stud in which to do so. Go back to that grind there and you'll see also the beautiful satin work that's been done. It's just nice and clean. I'm not crazy about the way that he chose to engrave this. I think it could have been done better because half the time when I open the knife and look at it, I see light just catching parts of the engraving and it looks like I have scratches. I'm like, oh, where'd that scratch come from? And it's not. It's where it says Omega M5. And then it's really hard to make out in most lighting, but the number 1 underneath the thumb stud there. I think the engraving could have been done to look a little bit nicer. And I'm thinking perhaps he did it this way to keep it a little bit more discreet and not show up as much. And I may have had the opposite complaint if he did something that stood out more, because then it would have been, a really huge billboard across the blade. So I might have had a complaint either way, I'm not sure. The jimping on here feels really nice. He's got a nice thumb ramp, so it does ramp up a little bit. The jimping works nicely. It's not overly sharp and spiky. You'll see the titanium liners. He's done some jimping across there. And I really think that's more for aesthetics. It's not really, well, it does actually kind of work. Yeah, my fingers do kind of lock in. Full solid backspacer. I'm going to assume that's G10. And then more jimping across the back here. Again, the jimping would be more effective if the carbon fiber was actually cut away, notched away in the same areas. It would let your thumb drop in. As it sits, you don't feel it. It doesn't really do anything. Up here it does a little bit more for some reason, but back here it does almost nothing. Nice clean look all the way around. Nice solid liner lock. I'm not the world's biggest liner lock fan. I'd prefer a frame lock, and my favorite being a bolster lock, but it's certainly, very, very strong. I have no issues whatsoever with the lockup. Detent is nice and solid. Sucks it in nicely. Overall, it's just a nice, clean, easy to carry, easy to deploy, really nice, straightforward knife. It looks like something that's down to business, yet it still has some personal touches and some flair to it, which I love out of a custom knife. You know, you could pull this out, and it doesn't look, you know, just even using my Omnums on for an example. You know, you compare the basic tool look of the Omnums on as it comes, and then you look at mine as it was customized by Chris Martin at Phantom Steelworks. And when you pull this out, it's instantly a showpiece, and people are already looking, going, oh, wow, what is that? That's different, that's cool, that's unique. Whereas when you pull this out initially, it's just a knife. And then it's when you start to look at the details, these you know, steel ball bearings that are sticking out of the titanium, the custom pivot, the custom hardware, the carbon fiber, the thumb stud, the beautiful grinds that are on the blade. It's only when you start really paying attention to the knife that you realize that it's something out of the ordinary and something quite special. And that's something that appeals to me a little more and a little more as of late. You know, there are times I'm buying a flashier knife, and then there are times that I'm buying something that's, you know, a little bit more toned down. And that's another reason why I love my Chavez so much. It's a little bit of both. I got little areas on there that are a little bit flashy, you know, and definitely some custom touches. But overall, it looks like your standard everyday knife. So days you feel like you're in the mood to carry something a little more gauche, you know, you can go for something a little loud like that. And kind of for your everyday purposes, I mean, this is just fantastic. And I found, due to its lightweight, I can even put this in my pocket in a pair of shorts. I mean, I have absolutely no issues carrying a big 4-inch blade, and that's kind of surprising. The few 4 and 4 1/4 inch blades that I have tend to be a little bit cumbersome. They're either just thicker, bigger knives, or they're heavier knives. He's really maximizing the amount of space in the handle. That blade goes almost to the very edge, yet there's no danger of your finger grabbing it. So he's done a great job keeping this as compact as he could. You know, I'd say this is maybe 4 1/8 of an inch for the handle overall, because there's so little left over after you see the blade in there. So there you have it, guys. Just wanted to give you a quick look at this. Nothing crazy, nothing particularly special. I don't really know how limited they were made. Again, they're a hand-built full custom, so everything he makes is limited. But in the reissue series of the modern variation of the Omega M5, I don't know how many he made. I meant to ask him. I had asked him some questions about it about a month or two ago when I first got the knife, but I can't find the message, and he may have told me how many were made or not. I don't recall. Maybe if he sees this video, he'll message me and go, oh, hey, by the way, I only made, 100 of these, or 10 of these, or 4 of these, or whatever it may be. And if that happens, I will update in the description down below. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go. I've got a whole bunch more videos still stacked up, piled up, and waiting to go. I'm going to try to knock a few out. I'll see you guys soon.